So we're here in beautiful San Salvador.
Yeah.
And you guys just had dinner with the president.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was awesome. I presented him with an official Bitcoin yo-yo from Duncan. You know, they made these limited edition Bitcoin yo-yos. And so I got 20 or 30 of them, and I've been giving them out. And so, yeah, I presented him with his presidential Bitcoin yo-yo, and he was thrilled. It comes with a real orange string. I thought that was interesting.
Nice.
And it's for the ups and downs of the Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin's up and down, up and down. You know, you can experience that with this official Duncan Bitcoin yo-yo, butterfly yo-yo. So that was, I think, the highlight of the whole evening with the president.
That's a cool yo-yo.
I like the advertisement for that. If you look on for it, I don't know, on one of those sites like Amazon, you know, they say it comes with a real orange string.
Yeah, genuine orange, real genuine Bitcoin orange string. Okay, they went all out with this model. This is the kind. Speaking of crazy things you see online to buy, you know, these Lego. When I was a kid, you know, you build like a little house out of Lego, and that's it. You can buy a 9,000 piece Titanic Lego set that's 6 feet long. And that's crazy. Legos become something amazing.
And build the Titanic.
Build the Titanic, build the Eiffel Tower, build the Colosseum, build the whole world. Build the house out of Lego. They probably could deliver a house on Amazon. Give me a house made of Lego. It'll show up for like $12,000.
That's interesting. I'm sorry to jump on your moment there, but I was going to say, you know, I also saw this week the introduction of this new AI, Sara. And how you have the emergence of a class of large Lego structures on one side, and then in the other side you have like hyper reality on the other side, right?
Who is this? You mean what is Sarah?
So it's a new open AI software. Have you seen that? It creates amazing like video. You just prompt it.
Oh yeah.
With you say like have a hummingbird fly outside a window looking at a woman crying, and it creates a scene looks real. It looks like Martin Scorsese directed. Though I don't think Martin Scorsese would really have a scene with a hummingbird.
I don't know a lot of Scorsese hummingbird scenes, but no, I know what you're talking about. There is you know, several months ago the AI generated stuff looked sort of like computer generated stuff.
Yeah.
Now it looks like video.
Yes.
Like I just watched one it was like puppies playing in the snow, and I watched it several times.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell that it was fake.
Right. Now I saw something on Twitter. It's text to video. You type in text and it creates the video. And the tagline was Hollywood is about to go bankrupt, about to go out of business, because you could essentially take your script, your 90-page script, and throw it into the AI machine, and it would come back with your movie. Right. So do you need the whole Hollywood infrastructure? So is Hollywood going to be disintermediated? And by the way, all the characters and actors are AI generated with no salaries to pay. And all the storylines are like sampled. You know, the way the music industry sampled from the hip hop industries are samples of the music that came before the hip hop industry. And they created a multi-billion-dollar industry on the fragmentation of the previous music industry and the ability to sample little bits and pieces. So movies, I would imagine, would be the same. So you're watching and you're seeing, let's say, a half of a second of a Saving Private Ryan scene mixed in, but it's sampled. So it's not going to be a copyright violation. It's too teeny weeny. And then, or mimicked, or you can't really prosecute, or it's gone before you even know how to prosecute because 10 million people watched it, then it made it disappear.
Yeah, well, I don't even think it has to be a sample with the way this technology is. You can say, give me a battle sequence similar to Saving Private Ryan with no-name actors, and it'll do it, because I've already been playing around with, like I put together a movie treatment for a film I'm putting together, and I wanted artwork for it. And I said, do this artwork in the style of this comic book guy. And they were like, boom. And they kicked it out. And I put a couple of tweaks in there, add this and this for the story. And it did that.
But isn't part of the motivation? You moved to El Salvador after the strike in Hollywood, and the entire industry is being turned upside down because part of the issue for the strike by the actors, et cetera, was that they were trying to get rights in perpetuity to their image, which they were not too successful in doing. But that'll make the salaries go way, way down. So the place for the new frontier, for new opportunities, would be here. I think that's part of the reason you're here.
Absolutely right. That's absolutely one of the reasons I'm here. I walked the picket line all summer. I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA, and I walk the picket line with my, people in the WGA. And that was a huge thing, was they're going to just, rather than come on the set for a week or 2 weeks, you'd come on for one day and then they just replicate your image. And that was a big thing we were fighting for. And I was like, I'm just watching Hollywood, censorship, the wokeness, all of the other stuff. And as we've discussed, I'm pretty lefty, but I don't like the censorship of the woke crowd. And that's one of the reasons I came here, is like, let's make cool stuff. Let's make stuff where we're not censored, everyone in the Bitcoin space is like, how can I bring my skills and assets to Bitcoin and use it? And so I'm like, there's not a lot of like Hollywood types in Bitcoin right now. It's mainly, tech and finance people.
Well, listen, so I worked in Hollywood for a long time. I started out when I was like 19 years old as a D girl. And they still had that word. I don't think they use it anymore, but development girl, they probably don't use it because it would be considered sexist, right? Because you say girl, D girl. So I worked for a producer, Michael Phillips, who made Taxi Driver, Close Encounters, and The Sting. And I joined him right when he was Mercury Entertainment with Michael Douglas. And the thing about Hollywood is it's censorship in a way. It's a toll booth economy. And it's the only one it was like the last stronghold of a toll booth economy with tons and tons of middlemen. So in order to get a script made, like Max was saying, you could just enter the text now of your script that you wrote in Dubuque. Where's Dubuque? In Iowa?
It's in Iowa. Yeah, that's correct. That's in Iowa.
Yeah, of course.
Shout out to everybody watching in Dubuque, Iowa.
And then so you could input your script and it creates the masterpiece you have in your mind, or it's horrible and you delete it, right? You just move it to the trash bin. Before, and say they did create a masterpiece, before they would have had to go look up on, what was that portfolio, that book you used to have, the Hollywood, there was a little paper notebook that people would buy, and it had the list of all of the companies, all the talent agents, all of the film companies, which ones were accepting scripts, unsolicited scripts. So I would receive like a pile of scripts, and we weren't a huge company, but other ones would receive hundreds a week, and we would have to read all the scripts. So this is how, like, if you wrote that script, now you could just input it into AI and create a movie within a few hours. Here they had to find somebody willing to open the envelope, look inside the envelope, pull it out and read it. And then I would have to write notes, like a 2-page report, a synopsis of it for my boss, and whether or not I liked it, and, all that sort of stuff. So that was just like the very beginning step. Imagine then you have a talent agents to find the cast, and then you have, booking agent, all sorts of casting agents, a whole huge slew of middlemen that are now just like wiped out. Here's just the places where I've used it already. Yeah. You can put a script in there and say, just summarize this script. So again, that reader job you're talking about at all the agencies, that's gone. Yeah. I also did it for a legal contract, for a licensing deal. I said, summarize this, and you have to give it prompts. You have to go to like a legal AI website that does, and say, give it these specific prompts. And it broke down, well, this is what because it's in all this legal speak that I didn't quite understand. It says, well, this is what this means. And I was like, oh, so now I sent back changes, and I'm negotiating
with a machine.
With a machine, and then the machine is then giving my version that I'm sending to this production company. So I'm using a machine to negotiate for me, and I'm like, why do I need a lawyer?
Right, you don't. So all those high-priced lawyers, that's it. They're just intermediate, middleman out, right? So where's this all going? Creatively, it will just be derivatives upon derivatives upon derivatives, because Hollywood is already a very derivative industry where they keep making the same 3 movies over and over again. How many times did they have to remake Batman? Batman's been remade now, 417 times. Every single summer, there's a new Batman. This year's Batman, it's even darker. This Batman is so dark, there's going to be in complete blackness, and you won't be able to hear anything. It'll be muffled from a guy in the back row. It's so dark. It's not there, right? Where can they go with this Batman?
Just a flashlight under his head.
Right.
I'm Batman.
Yeah, like Blair Witch Project. You know, just like all they needed was a flashlight. Essentially, that was the only prop. But okay, that's where the Batman's going. So where's it going though? What creatively can we expect from all this? I don't know.
I think what's going to happen is people are creative. I've talked to a lot of creative friends of mine, and they're using AI in a creative way. They're putting their creative ideas out there. And in some ways, like what Stacey's talking about, you wanted to do this creative thing. You had to jump through all these middlemen and these hoops. I think that's the smart creatives will go, oh, I have this idea. I don't need the middlemen anymore. I can say, let's do this video. Let's do this thing. I'm going to come up with my concept. AI is going to do a lot of the work on it. I'll hire some voiceover actors or whatever. And then I don't know. It's really, we're in a bold new world.
You get rid of the casting couch.
Yeah, that's gone.
There's no reason.
The agents. I mean, all of these, like you said, it's a whole industry of like 5 layers of middlemen that you could effectively eliminate, which I'm all for, because the gatekeepers in Hollywood are the most frustrating aspect of it.
Yeah. What about like the idea of the writer's room? You know, like in the sitcoms and other TV productions and in film productions, you have a group of writers. You have 5 or 6 writers in a room. They're writing collectively. And there's something that's kind of unique to actually the American entertainment industry, because in the European industry, they don't have that idea. It's just one writer. And that's a lot of times why a lot of the films in Europe, et cetera, are kind of stilted and one-dimensional, because there's like one writer. But here you have this group of writers, and they're all throwing ideas around. But in an AI situation, you don't really have that.
Yes, you can. Yes, because you can input into it. Like you could add into your writer's room, like Aristotle, Jefferson. You could put in Orson Welles. You could put in.
So Aristotle and Orson Welles to write a remake of Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
John, book it. Go.
Right? And then with starring Pee Wee Herman in a recreated from the afterlife, and
Charlie Chaplin
and Brad Pitt. So give me that movie. That sounds like a good movie. I mean, I'd watch the first 30 seconds, maybe.
It's really interesting, because the writer's room is I've worked in some writer's rooms, and when it's like any sort of like a team sport. When you get a good team of writers in a room, you can come up with great ideas, because the creative like starts. This person has this idea, that boom, 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 and these ideas float around. All of a sudden, you come up with this like script that's like really inventive, or episodic TV that has writers' rooms, especially comedy writers' rooms.
Yeah, you know what would be great is where this could really work out well is replace that show Saturday Night Live with a new AI comedy show, and have the material written by AI but make it funny. Because Saturday Night Live became hugely political. It's political agitprop. It's no longer comedy in the sense that it's what we'd expect a comedy to be. Lorne Michaels is trying to make a political statement, and it's never ever funny anymore, except maybe sporadically. But imagine doing Saturday Night Live where you have like, okay, we're going to put John Belushi in a writer's room with Dan Aykroyd and Dave Chappelle, and it's going to be also George Carlin, and they're going to create sketches for this new AI Saturday Night Live type show.
I think
they would do better than the Saturday Night Live show.
Part of the problem in terms of Saturday Night Live is it's gotten really corporate. Now, it used to, when it first started in the 70s, they were like, nobody even knew what they were doing up on their floor of the 30 Rock building. Right. They were just like, they were anarchists. I mean, up there smoking weed and doing crazy stories. And so they were really challenging stuff. And now it's sort of like it goes through this team of suits effectively, and now they're just trying to do certain types of political stuff because they want America either on red team or blue team or whatever. And so it's effectively has killed it. You watch the first couple of seasons of Saturday Night Live in the 70s. It was unreal, man. The stuff that they did, in my opinion, I thought it was brilliant.
Because Saturday night, like at 10 or 11 at night, was a dead zone for commercials. So they had free time. They're like, we'll do a comedy show. We'll hire these unknown Canadian comics, and we'll probably sell more ads than dead air.
Yeah.
And so they did it, and it became a classic. But now with the clips and social media, this stuff gets repeated. It's highly corporatized. It's a big revenue stream. It's big business. And so with more money, less funny.
It's like Ugly George. You know, he was super famous on local access television in New York City.